Welcome to the Ben Dana podcast where we're calling a spade a spade. LOL Duncan. Oh, LOL. You continue to make a fool out of yourself, Elle Duncan, and I feel like it's only right since all you do is talk about the internet, all you do is talk about the drama, the gossip, the trolls. I figured it's only right that the number one YouTube troll, yours truly, comes out and talks about this foolish nonsense that you decided to spew on the right time with Bomani Jones. Now, Elle Duncan, let me just give you some clarification. All of these lies, all of this nonsense, all of the gaslighting that you used to do to the 46,000 old WNBA fans before the new eyeballs got here, maybe then it could pass. Maybe then nobody would pay attention. Maybe then people were just so happy that you were talking about women's basketball that they just ignored all the hoopla that you decided to spew. But to be fair, Elle, before Caitlin Clark kind of arrived onto the scene in Iowa, you guys didn't really talk about the WNBA at all over there at ESPN. In fact, it was more of an afterthought. It was more of, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around, does it make a sound? And in the WNBA universe, no, it doesn't make a sound. It actually doesn't make a sound. If women are playing professional basketball in a league called the WNBA, are they really playing? That's a good point, actually. That's a good point. So it takes the new media, it takes the new trolls, it takes the internet people, the Twitter people, it takes all of us to come together and talk about the WNBA, because when we're in the woods and we're chopping down trees, yes, when those trees fall, you damn right, it makes a sound. And what we've been doing all season long is just chomping down trees. Fake narrative, chomp. Misguided storyline, chomp. Ignoring history, chomp. Terrible gaslighting, chomp. We're all a bunch of tree choppers. So let's get into what Elle Duncan had to say, shall we? Let's get into the nonsense that Elle Duncan decided to spew with Bomani Jones, because man, oh man, when you think it can't get worse, when you think that we were done, right? When you think that a certain somebody's been eliminated from the playoffs for almost 2 going on 3 weeks now, you think that we'd be able to move on and talk about some other things. You think we'd be able to move on and Elle Duncan would bring light to the WNBA finals, that she'd bring light to the WNBA playoffs, but she knows the script she was given. Talk about the new fans. Talk about the new fans. Talk about the new fans. Talk about Caitlin Clark. Talk about Caitlin Clark. Talk about Caitlin Clark. Don't talk about anybody else in the league because nobody cares about them. Just talk about the new fans. Do that for us. So Elle Duncan did her best job, talked about the new fans like she was told to do, and I figured I come and I bring you the truth. So let's take a listen to this nonsense that Elle Duncan talked about, and then we'll really break it down frame by frame, not literally, and dissect every word that Elle Duncan said. Let's take a listen.
You cover women's basketball on the college level, on the professional level, and for many years, you guys said you wanted some more attention. Well, how you like it now?
This is like finally having like a home and a backyard big enough to entertain more people. And then the new people that show up to the party show up with pitchforks. And you're like, ooh, never mind. This was bad. I should have curated this list a little better. The second that you show love to anybody not named Caitlin Clark, you are part of, some constituency that's trying to keep her contributions at a minimum, and you're racist, and we get a lot of that. It's no wonder that the W coverage is all Black women, because you're all in it together to try to keep her down. It's just, you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Instead of hot takes that are like, Breanna Stewart's never going to win another championship, or Nafisa Collier's better than Maya Moore. Like, instead of those kinds of hot takes, the hot takes solely and explicitly surround all of these Black women versus Caitlin Clark. And to have someone come in who has been amazing for the game, for the sport, of her own volition, worked really hard in Caitlin Clark, but to have this group of people come in and immediately invalidate the contributions of all of these women before her simply because they don't know, that's what's been frustrating, you know? So yes, people are going to talk about it more, but oh my God, please just educate yourself so that you can have bad takes that involve basketball and not bad takes that send racism and misogyny into the timelines of these women. It's unfair.
Woo! Folks, it's almost like Elle Duncan can't talk about the WNBA without saying racism, misogyny. I'm surprised she left out vitriol. I'm surprised she didn't use her favorite word of the season, vitriol. These people are sending a vitriol to the women in the WNBA. I'm surprised Elle Duncan didn't go there, but we're going to talk about it, folks. Point number 1 from the Elle Duncan soliloquy of garbage. It's like finally getting a new house, and your backyard is big enough that you can finally have a party, and then you invite all these people over, and then they show up with the pitchforks, and I get really scared. Okay, Elle Duncan, let's use that analogy, shall we? It's like getting a new house, throwing a party, people are showing up with pitchforks, but you left out the part where before you bought a house in the neighborhood, you went door by door calling everybody in that home racist, misogynist, sexist pigs. Am I right or am I right? Before you even, as the realtor is showing you this brand new 3-story house in a wonderful, lovely neighborhood, comes with a basement, comes with a pool. As the realtor is showing you this, you're busily saying, yeah, but what about all the other racists and misogynists and sexists on this neighborhood? I'm getting really in my Vince McMahon bag today. I should really stop. What about all of those people in this neighborhood? That's kind of like what you guys have been doing, Elle. And then, yes, I guess I can understand why the rest of the neighbors would show up to your measly party, because make no mistake, it's actually a pity party. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's not a celebration. It's a pity party. It's a what about me party. It's a cry me a river party. So let's take that analogy and go one step further, shall we? It's like getting a new house, throwing a party, everybody shows up with pitchforks. However, before you sent out all the invitations, you gathered all the parents on that neighborhood and you said, hey, listen to me. Your kids are all dumb. Why? Because I didn't raise them. They don't know the same information that my children know. They don't know the same statistics that my children know. They don't know the same historical references that my children know. They don't know the same books. They haven't read the same books that my children read. Your kids aren't good enough, and therefore you guys as parents aren't good enough. Maybe a couple of you can come. You could come. Maybe a couple of you can. No, not you. Yep. Maybe a couple of you can come and join me in this pity party in my backyard. But Elle Duncan, something tells me that people will show up to that party with pitchforks as well. So again, your analogies just aren't boding well for you, Elle Duncan. It's easy to just say an analogy. Oh, it's like getting a new house and throwing a party and people are showing up with pitchforks. Oh, I'm so scared. It's easy to do that when we leave out why they're showing up with pitchforks, right, Elle? It's easy to say, well, they're showing up with pitchforks because me, Elle Duncan, me, the WNBA, me, Asia Wilson, called all these people racist, misogynist, sexist assholes before the league even started, before the season even started. Asia Wilson's calling us racists about 2 months before the league even started because Caitlin Clark got her own shoe. Yeah, you remember that? Well, I think Caitlin only has a shoe because she's racist, but we're not even going to talk about Juju Watkins getting a shoe. Right, Asia? Right, Asia. Okay, point number 2. It's like you can't show love to anybody not named Cece. It's like, because if you do, you're just minimizing all of her accomplishments. Well, stop. Hard stop. Let's take a look at that nonsense that you decided to speak and spit out of your mouth. No pun intended. Folks, I might be living in the bizarro world. I might be living in an alternate reality. I might be living in universe 9861. Shout out to the Marvel universe that they completely ruined. Shout out to that. But there's been no mention of Caitlin Clark and her insane ratings in the WNBA this year from these 5 fools on ESPN. I'm assuming that's what they mean by WNBA media because they're the only ones that are actually talking about the WNBA. You know, ESPN really trying to appeal to everybody. They don't talk about it on Fox Sports. They don't talk about it on the NBA Network. They don't talk about it on CBS Sports. They don't talk about it anywhere except for those 5 people over there at ESPN that are trying to jam narratives down our throat. No mention of Caitlin Clark's ratings. You would think that if the NBA sees a rating that they haven't seen in 20 years, you would think that they'd be talking about that on First Take. Wait, why is that? You'd think that they'd be talking about that on NBA Countdown. Wait, why is that? They'd be talking about that on NBA TV. Wait, why is that? They'd be talking about that on Fox. Wait, why is that? First Things First. Wait, why is that? They'd be talking about that, right? But instead, Elle Duncan thinks that she's just ignoring all of the people that came before her, Caitlin Clark, if she was to give some credit, right? Oh, I would talk about this, but then I'd be invalidating all the women that came before you, Caitlin, because it's not just because of you. It's because of all of those people that laid the groundwork before you. Whatever. Number 2, no mention of any of Caitlin Clark's rookie records. First to do this, first to do that, first to get this, first to do that. Fewest games to get that mark, fewest games to get this mark, fewest games to get... Oh, well, that hasn't been done before. Oh, that hasn't been done before either. Oh, she actually just passed Breanna Stewart in the most 15, 5, 5, and 5 games. Oh, that's very interesting, Elle Duncan, that you guys seem to leave it. You guys do keep her contributions to a minimum. You guys specifically choose to tiptoe around all of her contributions so you can talk about the Twitter trolls online, so you can talk about the internet media, so you can talk about the internet gossip, so you can talk about what the rest of the world is talking about, because nobody's talking about the damn games. Number 3, keep her contributions to a minimum. Interesting, you guys never walked back any of the terrible takes that you fools have had this whole entire season. Back when Caitlin Clark was struggling at 15-5 and 15-7 and 5, oh my God, she's really having a hard time these first few games. She's only averaging 15 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Ha! She's only doing that. Guys are literally crying inside and spewing out nonsense. Nobody walked back their take. I still haven't heard Monica McDumdum say, maybe I shouldn't have said that Rookie of the Year should be based on standings. Speaking of Monica McDumdum, remember when she went on Jon Stewart and she raised her hand? Hey, who here wants to be a gatekeeper and doesn't think new fans should be coming in here? Me. I do. I don't want to see any of these new fans here. In fact, I don't want to see any of these other colored women in my league. Yeah, it's okay, Monica McNutt. Don't forget, we're like elephants around here. We remember it all. Speaking on people not named Caitlin Clark, the only people that you guys spoke on not named Caitlin Clark was Angel Reese pushing a faulty double-double, manufactured double-double that ultimately got her coach fired. Great job, Elle Duncan. Great job, Andrea Carter. Shanae Ogwumike, salute to you. LaChina, salute to you. Carolyn Peck, great job, you guys. You guys did a great job of pumping nonsense into Teresa Weatherspoon's head, into Angel Reese's head, thinking that those double-doubles meant something. And now look at Teresa Weatherspoon. She is SOL, as my dad would say. Another person you guys talked about not named Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson. That's very interesting. Asia Wilson. The same person who attacked new fans. The same person who defended Becky Hammond for allegedly, folks, trading away a player because she was pregnant. The same person who you guys nominated as unanimous MVP before the season already started. The same person who you guys already crowned unanimous MVP before the season already started because she didn't win it last year. That person? No talk about Nafisa Collier, even though Nafisa Collier all season long, especially in the head-to-head matchups, beat the life out of Asia Wilson head-to-head. Remember how we do it in the NBA? I know, folks, we got to use that grading curve, but remember in the NBA, Jokic and Embiid going after the MVP, and we want to see them go head-to-head to kind of use it as a tiebreaker. Remember that? Yeah, you guys remember that. Very interesting how the WNBA decides to behave, especially those 5 people in the WNBA media, because that's all it is, folks. That's the WNBA media, unless she's talking about us, right? Unless she's talking about Twitter. The fans on Twitter who've been following this league for the past 20 years. One of the 46,000 who think that they have a voice on Twitter, and then every time they open their mouth, here comes a new fan saying, shut your mouth. This is wrong. Every time they open their mouth, a new fan comes saying, wow, that's very racially motivated, what you just said right there. Are you counting those race baiters in the WNBA media as well, Elle Duncan? Please let me know so I have some type of understanding, some type of clarity on what you are talking about. Point number 3, the hot takes. Elle Duncan. The hot take, oh my God, what about Brianna Stewart? Is she ever going to win another ring? Nafisa Collier, is she ever better than Maya Moore? Elle Duncan, I have a question for you. What kind of hot takes have you offered us this whole entire season? Oh no, don't mind me. I'll let you think. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee, Elle. Don't worry. What'd you say? You said that picking out best fashion outfits going into the game, those are your hot takes, Elle Duncan? Saying who do you think the best dressed player is in the WNBA, those are your hot takes? I mean something revolving around the game. Now, I will give ESPN credit. They do have one delusional hot take that they've been peddling all season long. Angel Reese for Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year. That was a hot take. Delusional, but a hot take. But let's talk about the hot takes that us, the losers, the schmoes, the internet media said. Caitlin Clark's the top 5 player already. Before she went off during Olympic break, Caitlin Clark, top 3 point guard in the league already. Caitlin Clark in the conversation for MVP. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese should be on Team USA if you guys want to grow the game. All of those you guys considered hot takes. But I'm still sitting here waiting for a hot take from Elle Duncan. A hot take from Andrea Carter. A hot take from Shanae Ogwumike. A hot take from Monica McNutt. A hot take from LaChina Robinson. A hot take from Carolyn. I'm still waiting for those hot takes. See, your hot takes were acting stupid. Lack of a better words. Your hot takes were acting deaf, dumb, and blind to what you guys were witnessing out there. Those were your hot takes. But it's okay. It's okay. You guys are too busy worrying about invalidating the women that came before her, right? Invalidating the players that come before her and all that they've accomplished. Only in the WNBA. Folks, imagine Victor Wembanyama. I believe he led the league in blocks, or maybe second in the league in blocks. Imagine saying, hey, Victor, good job blocking those shots, but don't you forget to get on your soapbox at the end of the game and talk about Bill Russell, talk about Alonzo Mourning, talk about Dikembe Mutombo. Don't you forget to do that, Victor. Hey, Chet, great job this rookie season. Man, really showcasing your in-and-out game. You got some handle. It was clear that the Thunder needed a big man. You came in. If you bulk up, you'll be great. But don't forget to talk about all the players that came before you, Chet. Don't talk about all the great power forwards that came before you, Chet. Don't you forget about Kevin Garnett. Don't you forget about Tim Duncan. Don't you forget about Dirk. Don't you forget about Moses. Don't you forget about any of the people that came before you, Chet. Can you imagine? People would look at NBA media like they're absolute idiots. And Elle Duncan, unfortunately, that's how we're looking at you. Invalidate. What have they accomplished, Elle Duncan? It's been 15 years since you guys had a million-view game. I mean, come on. What are we invalidating? Are we invalidating, or are we just saying it's been 15 years since you guys had a million-view game? But what about the people that came before her? What about Asia Wilson? What about Brianna Stewart? What about Nafisa Collier? What about Diana Taurasi? What about Candace Parker? What about them? That's actually a good question. What about them, Elle? It's crazy. You have all the power over there at ESPN. We're just schmoes with YouTube channels, Twitter accounts, Reddit pages. We're just schmoes like that. You guys used to steer narratives over there at ESPN. You guys used to talk about actual stuff over there at ESPN. But again, just a bunch of bums now over there. Just a bunch of delusionals that get their feelings hurt over there. WNBA is a complete cesspool. WNBA is a complete mess. Who's the WNBA media? Is my last question. Is it the 4 people of ESPN? Is it the 4 people that work at ESPN covering the WNBA? Or is it the people on Twitter that think that there's somebody that's been following the league for X amount of years? You know, your Chris Williamsons, your Sabria Whitakers, you know, people like that. Is that WNBA media? The race-baiting fools? There's no WNBA media. Nobody in the WNBA talks about the game going on within the WNBA. It's just the truth. It is just the truth. The people on ESPN would much rather talk about the drama, much rather talk about the trolls, much rather give life to the fire that's burning over here instead of ignore it and address the actual games. Instead of ignore it and address the actual play. Elle Duncan continues to be hypocritical, continues to gaslight, and continues to lie. It's the Ben Dana Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. I appreciate all the support. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would so greatly appreciate it. As always, folks, take it easy.